Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Today is Thursday, March 2nd, 2023. Dr. Tatsumesha Thames, psychologist, and services This is a testing.
One, two, one, two.
It's Narcissistic personality disorder. Ooh, keep talking.
Uh, damn. It's not letting me go live on the YouTube
Let me try the other one.
thing. That out my
Oh, okay.
It's always, I swear, it's always like this. You looking at shit like, really, nigga? Okay, noise gate on. Echo cancellation on. Okay. All right. Try this one more time.
Okay.
I think I just figured it out.
All right. Let me know when we start talking.
Keep talking.
All right. Let's talk about personality disorders. I'm going to name some off. We have paranoid personality disorder, schizoid personality disorder, schizotypal personality disorder, not to be confused with schizophrenic, antisocial, borderline, histrionic, narcissistic. I had an ex-boyfriend that had a narcissistic personality disorder. And in a nutshell, people who are narcissists or have narcissistic personality disorders really can't see you because they can only see themselves. They're only concerned about themselves. Think of that episode of the Brady Bunch that I know we've all seen when Marsha Brady said, "It's me, 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 me." You guys remember that episode? That's pretty much what a narcissist is. It's all about them. Avoidant personality disorder. Well, I don't really have to explain that one. It's avoiding, to go away from, to stay away from, to not have to deal with. Dependent personality disorder, obsessive compulsive, what we call OCD personality disorder, personality change due to another medical condition. And this is where we begin to get into what we call comorbidity, which means that you have more than one mental health issue going on at the same time. You can have more than two, you can have more than five sometimes, just depends. Then we have neurocognitive disorders, in which there's so many. So this book here, we use it as psychologists and psychiatrists. It is very expensive, so please don't steal it from your doctor. We need this because when you guys come to us, we make our judgments, our hypotheses based on what you tell us. We listen to the symptoms, to what your symptomologies are, and we refer to this book here. All right, it's kind of like the Bible of psychology, and it is governed by the American Psychiatric Association. It is also followed by the APA, or American Psychological Association. So we use this um, to pinpoint what your condition may be. All right. Let's look at major depressive disorder. We see a lot of this clinically. Um, so, what has to be met? So, this tells us what the diagnostic criteria are for major depressive disorder. You have to have five or more of the following symptoms. They have to be present during the same 2 week period and represent a change from previous functioning. At least one of the symptoms is either a depressed mood or loss of interest or pleasure. Okay. Do not include symptoms that are clearly attributed to another medical condition. So, in a nutshell, I'm not going to read all of these. Depressed mood most of the day, nearly every day. Markedly diminished interest or pleasure in all things. Okay, and activities. Significant weight loss when you're not dieting or trying to lose weight, or just the opposite, weight gain. Insomnia or hypersomnia. So, insomnia is the inability to sleep.
Hypersomnia is sleeping all damn day. Psychomotor agitation or retardation nearly every day. Now, we try not to use the word retardation, so this is only to show that if you're agitated with your psychomotor, then that you're having really no energy, okay? Restlessness. How about fatigue or loss of energy every day or nearly every day? Feeling worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt? How about a diminished ability to think or to concentrate or recurrent thoughts of death? Recurrent suicidal ideation without a specific plan or a suicide attempt or a specific plan for committing suicide. All right. These symptoms cause clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. The episode is not attributable to the physiological effects of a substance or medical condition, meaning that this is not because you're using drugs or something else that is altering your mood or your brain, but this is just innately how you are doing and or feeling about yourself. So that is why when you go in for an evaluation or consultation, it is very important that you are open and honest with your doctor. Because when we are trying to help you, we want to be able to give you the best plan for care. And it requires you to be open and honest. How's that make? Oh, we still oh, God, I know you. Hey.
So we're over here, you guys. This is the first day we're doing this professionally in my office. So I'm going to keep going. So this is important. And actually, I just happened to just open this page and start talking about major depressive disorder. But the actual title of today's topic is Spring Fling. And I wanted to talk about spring fling because it does tap into depression, and it can involve major depressive disorder. But I'm speaking more so to those of you who have children that are in school. I will tell you, during my time as working as a school psychologist, and many of you have probably heard me say this before, that in the spring season, now I don't know what in the hell is happening right now because God decided to change the weather, right? So many of us who live in California, we're used to sunny days. We're not used to the rain and the hail and the snow that has been falling from the sky in California. But I gotta tell you, it's been beautiful to me. And everyone wants to predict what God is gonna do. What the weatherman is saying. The weatherman don't know nothing. He has nothing on what God determines to be factual. So you just gotta go with the flow. And your short dresses you thought you were gonna wear to work type things, you gotta change the game. I get to get away with holes in the knees of the pants sometimes, right? But you gotta go with the flow. So I said all of that to say this. You have got to watch your children. You've got to be vigilant in what your kids are doing. There are so many things that are happening. I'm going to try to get a very good friend of mine on soon to talk about sex trafficking. There's a lot of that is going on, all right? So I'm going to try to schedule with her. I know she's very busy. She resides in Atlanta, so we'll have to make sure that her schedule and my schedule work out. But of course, I'll be the flexible one to work around her schedule because this thing is alive and it's going on. And many of your children are involved and you have no idea what they're doing. Don't blame yourself, but get more involved. Start snatching their phones and find out what they're doing. Put trackers on your kids' phones so you can read their text messages, not to be in their business, but to be in their business because you need to know. And these predators are so clever that they are weaning your kids in, and you have no idea
until you go into your kids' bedrooms and find that they're not there. Why are your children doing this? Well, one of the things I'm going to talk about is depression, or your kids feeling like they're not being heard, or they cannot connect to you, their parents, the very ones who planned to have them, or the very ones who had an oops moment, and you have them, they're here and they're yours. But are they really yours? Or are they belonging to the streets? Or are they belonging to these websites that are now encapsulating their minds and attention? Because that's what's happening. I have real life cases and scenarios where I am seeing this on a daily basis. And let me tell you, it's not fun to watch, but it is happening. So in the springtime, and I'm calling this spring fling to get your attention, but there is no flingy fun. We see a lot of children that we call emos, emotive, emotional. And what it is, what we found out is that they feel like they don't have anyone to turn to. So what they had been doing primarily in the past is cutting their wrist to release that emotional pain, to release the hurt when they hear parents arguing and fighting, or they feel like they don't have anyone to turn to and talk to. But guess what they're doing now, you guys? They're hooking up with these older men. They're hooking up with these older women. They're connecting with teenagers who are really in their lower and mid 20s that are posing to pretend to relate to them, and they're sending them bus tickets and airline tickets, and they're flying them out to them in the middle of the night when you're fast asleep in your bed. Your kid is gone out the door and they're gone. That's what's happening, and you've got to pay attention to it. Some of you have been lucky to retrieve your children, other of you have not. Some of you have been fortunate enough to get your babies back alive, or to know they're still alive, and other of you, my condolences, have not. This is a real thing. And this is something that the world and the news should be drawing our attention to every day. I have a theory on why not. My theory on why not is because most of those females look like me. They're Black girls and Black women. But if they weren't, I bet you the news media would turn up. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? All right. Send me messages, DM me, let me know your thoughts. And let me know what your thoughts are in terms of getting the word out more. Because this is something that is not going away anytime soon. There's big racketeering and sex trading. It's a huge money market. We know that our body parts are being sold in the black market. That means that we're dying so that our kidneys and livers and hearts and other body parts can be sold to other people. So these are real things that are happening. All right. So it is important when you see your child down or feeling lonely or can't relate or is becoming isolated, withdrawn. Those are on an average day, classic signs that your child might be suicidal or contemplating suicide. So those are things that you want to pay attention to anyway. But in this present day, where we see kids dyeing their hair black and fingernails black, and they only dress in black, and they're listening to dark music, you need to pay closer attention. You've got to get up in what they think is their business. Because until which time your child is no longer living with you and they are able to take care of themselves financially, they are able to feed and clothe themselves, guess what? You're still responsible for them. I don't care if they're 25 and they're living in your home, you're still deciding to take on responsibility for them. So then you need to pay attention to what's going on with them. So I am joined here today with my wonderful and incredible engineer, Yahuda.
What up, Doc?
And I love his insight and take on these things. So I'm going to let him chime in here and share his thoughts on this.
What's the question?
Well, what do you think about all the sex trafficking that's going on?
That's a tough one.
What do you think it's about?
Well, sex is the oldest profession. So, do I think it's gonna stop? No.
I agree with that.
I don't understand the big uproar about the sex trafficking when porn is legal. Because some of those women get trafficked through porn agencies. You know, it was a big story that came out about a famous porn star who was apparently kidnapped and forced to do porn. And she was one of the most popular people on the site.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you can't nitpick it. Either you have to get rid of the entire concept of over sexualizing people and sex as an industry, or you got to find safer ways to govern it and just let it be what it's going to be. It's the oldest profession, so it's like people using drugs. I don't think locking them up is the solution. So either you let people use drugs or you figure out a place where they can use them. Because I just think humans are always going to use sex as a motive to get what they want. You know.
But what about the idea of people being kidnapped, like off the street? So
right.
It's one thing if you're
wrong, but
offering to do it, you're making the decision, but not as a minor. I think as a minor, it's definitely wrong.
I mean, I was a minor having sex. Would I like to be put in jail for that? No.
True.
Would I want the person I had sex with to go to jail for that? No. Even at my adult age now, I can still say no to those things. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't feel like these people know more than me about the world and how to govern it. Mm-hmm. So it's a slippery slope. I think kidnapping is wrong in general. Mm-hmm. Sex with minors is wrong in general. So I think if you stick to those two things, you should be pretty good. But I think when you start to police sex, it gets a little tricky. You know, because in some countries, even in America, in some states in America, you can have sex at 16. So if that's legal in that country, is that child now legally able to go out and sell herself for sex? Like, it's a slippery slope. So yeah. I think that we should do away with sex as a business in general. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't justify it with porn and then the people on the street, they need to go to jail. Like, that to me makes no sense.
Okay.
But if you kidnap somebody, you should do life in prison.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not with the kidnapping and, you know.
All right.
Forcing people to do anything.
All right. Now, what do you think about children cutting themselves because they don't have an outlet or they're feeling emotional and that they can't talk to their parents or other adults about their feelings? Have you had any experience with that?
I had a situation when my grandparents passed. I kind of shut down and stopped caring about everything. It was just, you know. So I do think the conversation part is necessary. Mm-hmm. I've never experienced somebody cutting themselves. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what goes into the psyche of wanting to hurt yourself. I don't even like piercings, so I can't fathom cutting myself for anybody. But I would imagine just to be able to feel something. I would imagine it's kind of probably the same thing as when you scream into a pillow, just to kind of release all that.
I meant to bring my pillow in here too.
So it could be on that page, just to release all that that built up tension.
Yes.
But I think for all parents, I tell parents this in general: talk to your kids.
Yes.
Like, I think the biggest thing for me as a child, I could have skipped a bunch of BS if somebody would have just said something.
Yeah.
And just sat down and had a real conversation about real life.
Yes.
The real consequences.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a child forever.
Right.
I'm going to be an adult a lot longer than a kid. So I need to figure out these things. And no one said anything. Right. And I think everybody expects you to figure it out. And if that's your solution, you can't get mad at the process of me figuring it out.
Right.
However, whatever bumps and bruises come with it is what it is.
Right.
But I think if you talk to your children, especially cutting, I feel like if you're cutting yourself, you're trying to tell somebody something's wrong. Right. Because you're not doing anything internal. It's external.
It's external.
So that to me tells me you want to have the conversation. You want help. You want somebody to say something.
Right.
But I think all parents should sit a kid down and talk to them like human beings and not like children and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
You know?
Because you're only a child for a very short period of time. You're absolutely correct in that the danger in cutting is that if you cut a vein, the wrong vein, take yourself up out of here, you know. So that is the danger in it. And, you know, parents who have a hard time talking to their children, we know that that exists. You know, reach out, talk to a school counselor or a school psychologist or a therapist. You know, reach out to your medical provider. If you have Kaiser or Blue Shield, Blue Cross, Optimum, United Health, Aetna, whomever you have, there are mental health providers attached to whatever insurance that you have. There are county services available. There is a suicide prevention hotline available, 1-800-273-TALK, TALK. And I believe there's a 3-digit SMS number that you can call and or text. I believe it's 981, just from your cell phone. So there is help available. We know that being parents did not come with a handbook, so no one is expected to be perfect. None of us are. But we are expected to try and to do our best, especially when children are involved. So even though spring is feeling like winter, these are some things that you guys should know about and be cognizant of and watch your children. Remember, they are your children. You are the adult. You are the parent. They should not be governing and running you. You should be governing and running them and giving them instruction and making sure that they are following what you tell them to do. Because, gee, I cannot imagine a 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old giving me instructions.
Can you imagine? No. So
That's pretty much all I have for today. Oh, look, it came on, Nick. That's pretty much all I have for today. Where we are getting this equipment together. Um, right. If you guys have any questions, you can reach out. I am Dr. tattie923, Timms, clinical psychologist, also a school psychologist for almost 30 years now. Time flies when you're having so much fun. I am an expert in many things and glad to be. Glad to be. So, all right, you guys, send a message, DM. Be blessed. I'll see you here next Thursday. The content's going to get heavier. So, if you have anything you want discussed, just send it and we'll see you soon. Bye. Remember, check your mental health.